That calendar was created by the Chief Academic Officer and shared with the members of that team. If I click on the calendar, then you can see the things that show up in that gold are on my calendar. So I can overlay various calendars inside Google. So Ms. Gelnick has shared her calendar with me. If I choose to, I can click on that calendar and then I can see what's happening. Now, Ms. Gelnick may not want me to know everything that she's doing, right? So you'll notice it just says busy. And so when she shared her calendar with me, she gave me rights to see whether she was free or busy, and that's all. So when you share a calendar, you can either keep it private, you don't have to share it, but if you share it, you can determine, do I want them to see all of the information, so all of the details. You can also give them access to add things to your calendar, change things, add things. So for instance, this room 213 reservation calendar, the people I shared that with, obviously if they want to add a reservation to the calendar, they need to be able to add things to it. So I gave them full rights. Other times we just might want to show that we're free or busy. So we determine as the owner of that calendar then what information gets shared with others. If I don't want all of that showing, then I just click on it again and Heather's is gone, and I'll click on that and that'll be gone, and I go back up here to the district calendar or the cabinet calendar and click on that, then that will be gone. So it's very easy to overlay. Questions about calendar?
I'm just curious about, so for instance, recently we got a huge schedule for band.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious as to whether that would be in our child's calendar.
I'm guessing,
to what
was it middle school?
No, Horizon.
Horizon.
I mean, to what
I
extent
don't think so. Pretty much because, yep, and I think that the answer is School Fusion. We've encouraged teachers to use School Fusion Calendar in the past, and because we're just beginning with Google, really Google Drive and Gmail would be what we're using extensively across everything. I think as we begin to see the benefit of having some Google calendars, there may be calendars that we say, if you're going to have a band practice schedule, or if you're going to have this particular schedule, you need to create a calendar. We haven't made that decision. So I'm going to say that that calendar is not a Google calendar.
Okay.
Pretty much we're using Google calendars to keep track of our own personal calendars. There are a few shared calendars that you can see, for example, administrative team, administrative cabinet, the calendars when you want people to check out a room, those shared calendars. But in sharing calendars for classes, that's not happening yet, because they've been encouraged, and actually that's one of those things that they've been asked to do, is to use the School Fusion calendar from their class versus the Google calendar as we get started with Google.
So you can't.
Back to my drive. So when you're in Google Drive, and now the handouts that I've given you, because we went to calendar first. Now we're going to go back to Drive. The handouts that I've given you that you have, and if you don't have one, just make sure we know and we'll get you one. This is about access to Drive and how to create a document, how to share a document. I'm not going to walk through it step by step, but if you need to refer to something later on, this document will be helpful for that. So when a student logs on, primarily what they're using is Drive. And every user, bless you, when an account is created for that user, a space in Google Drive is created for them. When they log in, on the left-hand side, My Drive is what's personal to me. So students can create folders and documents. They can upload documents as well into that My Drive space. It's personal until they share it with someone else. So they're the only ones that can see that. If they create a document there and they don't choose to share it with anyone, then they're the only one that has access to it. The other area that they would use regularly is Shared with Me. And if you're in the training account, there's probably nothing in either of those because those are brand new accounts. These are documents that have been shared with me. So what that means is that some other user in the Pewaukee domain, or it could be outside the domain, has created and shared a document or a folder with me. If they choose to, I will get an email notification telling me that they've shared a document with me, and then I know it's there, and I can either click on the link that's in the email to open up the document, or I can come to this folder. So all the things that are shared with me, and then you can see there's a share date, and then who shared it with me. Okay? Now for training purposes, I asked some Horizon teachers to share a folder with me of students, because in 3rd through 12th grade, and I know definitely in 3rd through 6th grade, the teachers in the first couple of days of school walk through with the students this process. They have the student create a folder with their name, and inside that folder, they create subject folders. And inside those subject folders, and hopefully there's something in here, that's where they put their documents. Okay. Now you'll notice if I go back to Jordan's folder, the folder has a head and torso icon. That means that's a shared folder. So on the first couple of days of school, in 3rd through 6th grade, the teachers walk the students through creating a folder with their name and then the subject folders inside that. Then the student shares that folder, their name folder, with the teacher. So on the teacher's My Drive, they now have a folder for every student, and inside every student's folder are the subject folders, and then when a student turns in their paper, their work, their writing, their journals, whatever it might be, they put it in the folder, and now the teacher has access to it. Okay. The teacher could also put a document inside the student's folder if he or she wanted to share a document with that student. So it's a nice outbox, inbox for communication and collaboration. Students can also share documents with other students and work on those collaboratively. So if I'm in a group that's doing a presentation and we need to work on it together, but we don't have time to come to the house, we can open that presentation, mine from my house, yours from your house, and they can work on it at the same time in real time. Or not at the same time, it doesn't have to be at the same time. So they can share documents and collaborate on those documents. Now, at this point in time, students in 3rd grade have only been asked to share documents with their teachers. So they've told students not to share documents with other students yet because they're just getting started and they're just learning. But as the year goes on and they have opportunities to work on things together, to collaborate on work, then they'll show them how to share with other students. Okay. So primarily, Drive is their space in the cloud because this is stored on Google servers in the cloud. It's not physically stored on our internal Pewaukee servers. So from any computer, anywhere, at any time that has internet access, by logging into their @pewaukeeschools.org account, they can get to this information. So if I go to Grandma's house for the weekend and I forgot something and I didn't make a copy of it on my flash drive, or I left my flash drive at home, if it's a Google document, I can get to it from there. I don't have to have a particular computer. I don't have to have a particular flash drive. I don't have to have saved a copy of the file because I can access it from anywhere that has internet access.
Going back to share, can you share that with the parent also
Absolutely.
and the teacher?
Absolutely. So one of the things that I might ask, especially if you have a child in 3rd through 6th grade, 7th grade and middle school and high school, we're not so prescriptive in terms of making sure that everybody has the same folder. There are teachers who are using it this way, but again, there's more freedom within fences, if you will, in terms of how they create shared folders and how they share documents. But in 3rd grade, where they're just beginning to learn this, and in 4th, 5th, and 6th grade, where they're using it for the first time, 5th and 6th graders for the second time, actually 6th graders for the second time, we're very, they all have the folder, they all share the folder with their name, with their teacher. And again, what should be in those folders should be instructional in nature. And if it's not, you need to let us know so that we can have a conversation with the student about inappropriate use, and there'll be some consequences. So what's inside Drive really should be instructional information.
Can they share their whole drive?
You can only share folders or files, so they can't share their whole drive. If they have, so here's, for instance, this is my drive, and you can see there are folders that are in my drive, and those are things that I've created. The ones that are just flat folders that don't have the torso, those are things I created and haven't shared with anyone. But if I wanted to, I'd have to go to each one of those folders and share it. Now, to share a folder, if I click, and I know on the, here, oh, somebody created a new folder, thank you. Whoever in the student created a new folder, thank you, in this training account. Now I can see under my drive, there's a new folder. To create another folder, if you just click the red create button, you get a choice. So I can create a folder, I can create a document, which is like word processing, presentation, spreadsheet, form, drawing. So those are the things they can create by default. Okay. So if I create a document, it opens it up just like a word processing document. To share that folder, to the right of it, there's a little drop down, and if you're not in Chrome, this may not work. There's a share, and share again, and then they would want to put your Gmail address in here, and click done. Because it's outside of the Pewaukee domain, they're going to get a warning saying you're sharing this folder or this file with someone that's not inside the domain. Are you really sure you want to do this? And you just say, okay. And then it'll show up in your drive under the shared with me. Then you can move it over into your drive. Yes?
One question. When a student shares something with you and you go in and look at it, like when my student works on it at home, he says, oh, it automatically saves. So if I'm looking at one of those shared documents and you accidentally mess it up, every turn.
How do you delete
Is that gonna mess up their homework?
Nope, it's gonna save it. I'll show you. Because it does. That's a very good question. And there's so much information to cover. But that is a very good question. In a document, and I'm in the wrong, let me just bring up one of mine. No clue what's about to pop up. Okay, so here's some notes from a check-in meeting. It says last edit was on September 18th, 2012. If I make a change, any change, hitting enter, you can see up in the top, really small, next to the right of help, it says saving. I know that's hard to see, but anytime I do anything, enter, return, delete, hit a type, it automatically starts saving. So there is no file save like in Microsoft. It automatically saves. Okay. Now when I'm done making changes, it will say all changes saved in Drive. If I click on that, to the right, it tells me the last time it was edited. And if I click that, there's restored this revision. So if mom, you accidentally make a mistake, a major mistake, you can always go back to this revision by just clicking that. So that's the other nice thing, is if students are working in a document together, every time somebody, and I'll have to bring up a better example, every time somebody makes a change, So this is a document that we worked on together in a technology committee meeting, K-12 technology, and you can see the people who made the changes and when they made those changes. And if I need to go back to any of those versions, let's say I want to go back to this one right here, I can click restore this version. So I can go back to that. Now, I really want to go back to the last one. Can I do that? Yeah, so if I go back here, this, today, I want to go back to the last one before today, and restore this, and now I'm back at that version where we ended up at the very end of the document. So it automatically saves changes. Every time a change is made, it makes a history log, and at any point in time, you can go back and forth between those. So that's a really nice feature. So no more the computer accidentally turns off and I lost my work, or the power goes off and I lost my work. I got up and walked away and I didn't save it and I lost my work. It automatically, every time you make a change, it automatically saves it. The only Google app that doesn't is Sites. Anytime you make a change to a page that's a web page, you have to click save. But everything else, the spreadsheet, the drawing, the presentation, every time I make an edit, it automatically saves it.
Does it allow you to go back and look at a previous version without having to restore that?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, you have to click restore to get to that version.
So it'll
Well, but
automatically...
if I go here, if I go here and click on it, then it's going to bring it up. It'll bring the view up here, but still my original is there. Yes.
But so I can look at it
I
to
can
see
look
what
at
might
it.
have changed
Mhm.
without restoring it.
Yep.
Okay.
Absolutely. Yes.
If they worked on something, say at home in a Word document, can they just upload it to this?
Mhm.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So we'll go back to Drive. And this button next to create is upload. I can upload a file, or I can also upload an entire folder, which is really nice. So here's a Word document. Click on that and open it. And I'm inside a folder that's shared, so this is nice. It's telling me you're putting a document inside a shared folder. Are you really sure you want to do that? Because the people who have access to the folder will now have access to the shared document, to this document that you're putting there. So it's kind of saying, are you sure you're uploading something? Are you sure you want to make this a shared document? And I can say yes. This is okay. Upload. And then I have it set to confirm this so that I want it to convert the document because it's a Word document, and I want to convert it to a Google format so that I can edit it and then start the upload. And now it's uploading and then it will convert it. And now it's right there.
If you didn't want that to be shared, would you just set up a folder first and then
Or
upload?
actually, and that's a good question. Because I was in that K-12 technology folder, which is a shared folder, if I just click on My Drive, which is not a shared area, and then upload, then I'm not going to get that message because it's not a shared space.
Is there a way to undo? Like I've shared now in a folder I didn't want to share it?
Sure. So I'll go back to that K-12 committee folder that I was in. I was in this folder right here, and here's that family access account permissions that I really don't want there. I can either go into that document and unshare it, or I could just delete it, or, better yet, I can just click and drag and move it to my drive.
Okay.
Yep, and it's going to say you're moving it out of a shared folder. If you move it out of that shared folder, they won't be able to see it anymore. Okay, that's what I want. And now it's in my drive.
Can you show me how you would unshare it? I mean,
Sure.
what button do you push to do that? Or even a whole folder that's shared, make it unshared?
Sure, so here's a document. Anytime we open a document, whether it's a Word document, a PowerPoint presentation, a spreadsheet, whatever, not PowerPoint, but presentation, whatever type of Google document we open, there's a blue share. If we click on that, it'll show who has access. Okay, and I did that by putting in their email addresses down here. Okay, and then I click to save and share. If now I decide I don't want them to see it, I just click the X and I delete them. Or, let's say I had given them rights to just view it. All I wanted them to do was be able to see it, but now I want them to edit it. I can change that here. Or vice versa, if I had given them rights to edit the document, and now all I want them to do is view it, I could do that here. Let me create a new document, and I'll walk you through that. So in my Drive, I'll click Create, and these are directions that are on that handout document. A blank document comes up which looks very similar to a very old version of Microsoft Office, right? Doesn't look anything like the new version. It's a basic text editor. Every new document, whether it's a document, a presentation, a spreadsheet, a form, comes up untitled. Okay? And if students choose to, they could have 50 untitled documents until you go to share it. If you need to share it with someone, it won't let you share it until you give it a title. So the first thing we teach the students to do is to title the document, and to do that you just click Untitled Document in the top left-hand corner. It pops up a new dialog box. I'll call this Test and say OK. And now at some point in time the teacher says, I want you to add your name to the file, to the document. How would I put my name behind Test? How do I change the name of that document now?
Click on it.
Click on Test.
Oh, nice.
Yep. So that's all I have to do.
Did I
Test,
misunderstand you when you said you couldn't share outside of the Pewaukee school?
You can.
Oh, okay.
It'll give you a warning that you're sharing
that's
out. Yeah. It'll just say, look, you're going outside the domain. Are you sure you want to do this? And you
Okay,
can say,
yeah, because I
okay.
just shared on my Yahoo
Yeah.
account.
Yes.
When you showed us the one where you can see all the edits, you know, the revised, does it highlight what got changed? Because it,
No.
you know, it doesn't,
No.
like, the, okay.
No, it doesn't. So I have a document here. I'm not going to go over the particulars because, again, this is just a basic word processing document. But to share, you click the blue share button. Now, two different ways to share. I can globally change the sharing up here, because right now it's private, or I can add people by inviting them. And that's what we typically tell students to do, is just add their teacher here or add another student here, okay, via email address. But if I wanted to, I could make it public on the web so that anybody could come across it and they wouldn't have to sign in to get to it. Anybody with a link. So if I copied and gave them the link to the document, if they clicked on it, they can get to it. Anybody inside the Pewaukee School District can find it and access it. Anybody in the district with the link can access it. These two meaning they have to log in, and then private. By default, they're private. And that's how we're encouraging students to keep them as private and only share them via email address. So if I wanted to share this document with Ms. Geldnick, I can invite her down here. I'll start typing in her email address and she pops up here. If I want her to be able to edit this document, I would leave it as can edit. If I only want her to view it, I can just say view. If I want her to be able to comment on my document but not make changes to it, that's can comment. And I'll show you what a comment looks like. So I'm going to leave it at can edit. If I wanted to, and I need to go back and select her. If I wanted to, I could click add a message and say, Mrs. Geldnick, I'm sharing this with you. Can you take a look at it and make any necessary changes? I don't have to send an email. I'll save and share. And her name is popped up here, and now Ms. Geldnick has an email waiting for her that says I've shared a document with her, and she can either go into her Drive and access it there, or she can click on the email link. So I'll be done.